Star Realm Universe. What is good in the hood? Got something special for y'all today. Oh, by the way, happy belated resurrection, 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 resurrection. Happy Easter, y'all. In honor of my Shaolin brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do a little something special today. I'm about to recap on something very near and dear to my heart. You feel me? You want to know what that is? Check it out. Gotta do the Jay-Z. Throw it up. Dark throne, you're aiming at your nostril. Paraplast, sword, rockin' halibut steak, chop off militia, 8 to 9 generals. Yes. About to express my soul and feelings about the Wu-Tang Clan. Oh, it's lit. It's lit. It just got lit on this channel because I'm about to speak my mind and express myself on what I feel with the Wu-Tang Clan and finishing the Wu-Tang Saga. So make sure you stay tuned, stick around, keep it locked right here, only on Star Rail. Bro, I need to download Final Cut Pro. If I don't download Final Cut or at least Premiere or something like that, I swear these videos will never get better. But anyway, yo, check it out, y'all. I binge watched 2 months ago Wu-Tang Saga from season 1 all the way to season 2, and I'm like, alright, alright, alright. You know what I mean? It got me studying Mandarin, bruh, cause I used to like take Mandarin class in high school, and right now I'm in the process of brushing up on my Mandarin. And watching Wu Tang, bro, I'm like, bro, my mind is blown, bro. Like, I gotta go hard, bro, like a Shaolin monk. You know what I mean? Zai Zhongwen, EDN, EDN, Tai Hala, Hun Hao, shit. Okay, anyway, Bear Hua. Listen. Nah, that show was phenomenal, you know what I mean? Like, it did something to me, you know, to where I'm like, alright, I, 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 like it blew my mind. Like especially like season 3. Like season 3 was lit. Like it's cool watching them come up in the struggle. You feel me? Young black boys trying to make it in the music industry. And at the end of the day, only thing they wanted for themselves as black men is to have control over their own art. I don't know where they at now. R.I.P. Old Dirty. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was like some real stuff that I can relate to, like me personally, because like even though like I'm drawing and doing cartoons and stuff like that, I can relate to like RZA and stuff like that, but also can relate to the rest of the crew. You feel me? Like, you know, the direction that you want to go with your craft and stuff like that, like that type of stuff matter because it was kind of like to me, Wu Tang Clan was on some like they was from the Bronx and stuff like that, you know, like or is it from the Bronx? I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all. Like if I messed up, the location, but they from the East Coast and they came from the slums. You feel me? And they was getting it however they gotta get it and stuff like that. But for sure they was gonna just stay there and be broke. You feel me? They was gonna make moves wherever way they see fit. You feel me? And I feel like that's a story of every average person that comes from somewhere that's not, you know, um, as like productive is not the right word, but like you're not making it. You feel me? You're not making enough cream to where you can sustain yourself and your family. And watching this show, it enlightened me because I was watching it from the artistic perspective. It's like watching ghetto artists grow up in the hood and watching like the different struggles that they have to endure and go through. Um, as far as like trying to make it goes, and then like RZA, he was like on some music shit to where he was like, I'm just trying to like change everything. You feel me? Like I'm trying to like take over. Like that's my goal, and it's not like some takeover as in like a hostile takeover. It's like takeover as in like y'all the industry, and then we are the people who represent the people. So for me, it's like Wu Tang music is like made by people for the people. And one of the things that a lot of them wasn't really like counting on is the fact that like people outside, you know, black ethnicity, was paying attention to their music, which they were. You feel me? Because I don't know, like you got your tag alongs, you got your like bandwagon people and stuff like that. But then like there are some people who like actually literally pay attention to what it is that you're seeing and the message that you're trying to like push in your work. You feel me? And like they pay attention to that. Um and that's cool, you feel me? Like the more support the merrier. But at the end of the day, it's like you doing something that um you doing something that puts you in a position to where it's like, okay, this is where we are, and we got to push harder because at the end of the day, the goal is to utilize our gift to get ourselves out of a crappy situation. And that's kind of what I saw in that saga. You feel me? And season three was cold. You feel me? Season three was like wild. You feel me? Because how many managers have to go through a situation to where you know you got to get the band together. You feel me? We got to meet these deadlines. We got to do this. We got to do that. You feel me? But at the same time, that's the kind of group that didn't want to feel like they were being controlled. You feel me? Like they want to feel like they were industry product and stuff like that. And I understand that because as a illustrator who want to like dabble a little bit more into the Hollywood side, just a little bit. I don't even want a whole lot. I just want a little taste. You feel me? Like as somebody who wants to like dabble into that, like I understand where you're coming from because I don't. I mean, like there's certain things that I don't agree with because at the end of the day, most of the people out there who see your gift and see your talent, they just see it for what it is. It's like a position of opportunity to make profit, and as a soldier, like part of our creed is, we won't put ourselves in a situation to where we abuse, who we are to gain pleasure or profit. You feel me? And like that's kind of like what Wu Tang to me symbolize. That's why I like MF Doom. You know, we got we got Doom out here. You know what I mean? Doom. You feel me? Like that's what he represented. He was representing being a rebel against the industry, but not in the means to where he come in a hostile way and he started like attacking people on a personal level, but he took it out in his art, and I feel like a lot of like good artists start out like that, but like my age, like I'm 30 now, like but like a lot of artists like my age Like they start out that way, but then they start to change and adapt to where it's like, okay, I gotta be a little bit more mindful, like blah blah blah. Cause you start winning awards and like you become popular, and then like people want to utilize you because you popular, you win these awards and stuff like that, and they want to utilize you in the sense to where they want to market you to where you can go bigger. But the only way you can go bigger if you kind of like abide by the rules a little bit. Like I ain't act they'll say like I ain't actually to change too much, but like these are the rules that we have. But if you follow these rules, then we can take you to the top. You feel me? Like, and I feel like that's where the idea of selling your soul come into play. And it's a little bit disturbing. You feel me? But like that's one thing I respect about RZA is because he wasn't the kind of man that was about like selling himself and selling his group to the industry, yet being like co-partners with the industry without losing like the foundation of where they come from. You feel me? And I saw that in the show, and with the show and watching it, I don't know how accurate that show is, but like at least they were there to be like, all right, we approve this and that, and blah blah blah. Yeah, I feel like when I go back and listen to like Wu Tang now, and and I'll be live like what did I say? I ain't gonna lie, like I ain't never really been like heavy like Wu Tang. I'm a '92 baby. So I ain't never really been heavily invested in Wu Tang. Like, oh, hey, like Wu Tang. Like, I don't like. I'm just now learning about these cats, and the only thing that got me really into, like I heard their music. I think that beats is dope. I think what they doing with the Asian culture and the Eastern culture is dope. I love the whole like let's apply classic Chinese kung fu films into our work. That's different, bro, because it's like nowadays we have like major big anime fans, but we have major big anime fans with cosplay that have no foundation on why they're into what they're into. And I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying that's just some people who's in there and just like, hey, I'm in it because it's trending. That rhyme. But it's ridiculous, man. Like, um, it's ridiculous because like my whole thing is we live in an era where I'm still trying to figure out, who got soul and what it is that they're passionate about and who don't. I mean, it's kind of hard because we black folk we do a very good job of adapting to the point we can make it like seem sincere, like we really sincere about this. You feel me? Like a lot, and it's not just black folk. It's like whole lot of folk. You feel me? Like I remember I was eating at this Mexican restaurant, and this girl was wearing a Boys in the Hood shirt at this Mexican restaurant, and me being myself, like I approached her and I was like she ordered my food and everything like that, and I gave her my order, and then I complimented her on her shirt, and I was like, hey, I like your shirt, like it's really dope. She was like, yeah, it's cool, and then she looks really young, like really young, and she's like, yeah, I seen this movie in theaters. I said, what? I said, what? And she was like, yeah, I seen this movie in theaters. I'm like, as young as you look, there is no way you've seen this movie in theaters. And so, like, after eating my food and everything, I went back up because I was trying to get me a refill of my drink. And then I asked her, I said, excuse me, miss, like, I don't mean to bother you, but like, how old are you? And she was like, I'm 19. And I was like, you 19? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, uh, I'm like, if you 19, I'm like, this movie came out because Boys in the Hood. Hold on. So Boys in the Hood came in 90 out in 91, right? I'm like, If you're 19, how did you go see this movie in theaters when this movie came out in 91? I didn't say it like that. I was like, oh, like, this movie came out in like the early 90s and stuff like that, right? She was like, oh, well, she was like, cause she at first she was like, oh, I'm talking about the movie that came out. She like she said what 2000 and she was basically she was talking about Straight Outta Compton, whatever year that was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but she was talking about Straight Outta Compton, but she mistaked Straight Outta Compton for Boys in the Hood. And I was like, yeah, no, those are two different movies. Like, that's not Straight Outta Compton. That Boys in the Hood is a completely different movie. Like, and it came out in the 90s. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. I was like, yeah. I was like, you kind of had me stuck a little bit, but it's a good thing I asked. Um, but it's just like, like the art, the art is an outlet for us folks going through the struggle. You feel me? And it's not, and that was never my intention with my work because like I felt like growing up as a kid I was in a different spot. Oh, I was in a decent spot to where I didn't feel like I was struggling. Like I feel like I had like a decent childhood. I got a cool relationship with my dad and everything like that. Um, but at the same time, when you become an adult and you really want to pursue the arts, like for me, cartooning, you feel me, like drawing cartoons and stuff like that. It's not easy. It's not easy. You feel me? Like, there's a whole lot that come with it, and there's like a whole lot of like on your own type of circumstance because nobody really fully understand it. To me, art, like drawing cartoons, is like on the same page as like wanting to become a professional skateboarder. Nobody is gonna tell you to go outside and keep practicing skating so you can be professional unless you have a chill dad who wants you to practice skateboarding as hard as you can and stuff like that, like a trained athlete. You feel me? Like unless you actually have somebody in your life that can coach you and want to encourage you to pursue that, it's kind of hard. It's very hard, to pursue an avenue of an unknown circumstances because at the end of the day, especially when it comes to art, like you gotta kind of want it for yourself. Put yourself in a position to where you show people like, hey, I really want it. I'm really hungry. You feel me? Like, what does that look like? Like, and this could be like a different like video for a different day. But when I met Floyd Norman, that's pretty much where I was coming from. I'm like, I was telling Floyd Norman, I was like, hey, yo, like, I'm not like the best artist on the industry, but I know like I want to be a part of it somehow, some way. Um, and I talked to his wife Adrian for a little bit, and I told her I was like, yeah, I went to art school and everything like that. It didn't really work out too well for me and stuff like that. But I know in my heart like this is something that I really want to do. Like I told myself as a kid, like, hey, like I want to be a cartoonist. Like that's my goal, and she was telling me how like she was a self-taught artist and managed to score a job at Disney and whatnot. And um, it was very inspirational, and I really appreciate her like input and everything like that. I don't think she'll remember me. Maybe if I saw her like the signature that she gave me in my Vans hat, she'll remember me. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, it's not easy, and that's why I mess like with the Wu Tang Clan now because, like I said, like I was never like I was more heavy in Doom than anything else. But then when I heard Ghostface on one of the Dooms track, I'm like, dang, like you got Ghostface out here, blah blah blah. And then like I feel like that's where it clicked to where I wanted to listen to a little bit more, um, a little bit more like Wu Tang Clan. Like I started with like I started slow. I started with like Triumph, and then dug a little bit deeper to figure out like certain sounds that they had that like had like almost like neo soul vibes, but at the same time still come kind of like hardcore because like in my adult life it got kind of hardcore, so I needed something like to relate to. And then like when I heard about the Wu Tang saga, that's when I was like, all right, I need to watch this because the main thing that captures my attention about the Wu Tang Clan, well, first of all, it's in the name, Wu Tang. Um, you can also call it Wudong. You know what I mean? There's even like a whole mountain in China called the Wudong Mountain. If you don't believe me, watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and you'll hear him say like, "Oh, you know the arts of Wudong." You know what I mean? Like, there's those connections. You feel me? Like, and Wudong is a whole art, and it's closely related to Wing Chun. It's closely related to Wing Chun, Shaolin, and Bagua. And I started studying Bagua only because of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But the reason why I'm talking about all this is because of the fact that like this was a group, a young black man who took it upon himself to initiate um, Chinese culture into like black hip hop art. And I thought that was dope because the same thing that the Wu Tang Clan did with music, it's the same thing that I'm slowly but surely gravitating myself towards doing with my art. You feel me? And it's part of the reason why I started studying Mandarin. I ain't saying Wu Tang Clan is the reason why I started studying Mandarin. It's really the Boondocks that encouraged me to take Chinese Mandarin. Um, but it's the fact that like as a kid, I always had this natural appreciation for Asian, Oriental, Eastern Chinese culture, specifically Chinese. Why Chinese? Because growing up in Oakland, California, you have a whole ass Chinatown right there downtown, and every time you pass by on the freeway, Highway 540, you feel me? You see this like Chinese tower downtown near Laney College, and you see it. And when I was a kid, 5 years old, every time I seen it, I just had mad respect every time I saw that tower. Like to me, it was like a Buddhist tower. So at 5 years old, I just like my parents wouldn't see me. I kind of like look. I knew the tower was coming. I look out the window. I look at my parents, make sure they ain't looking, and I look at the tower. And as soon as I see that tower and I get like right to it, like we pass like right by it, I do this little bow. I just do the little, you know, to pay my homage to the Asian culture. You feel me? It's not because I wish I was Asian or anything like that, but it's as a human being, I had a natural respect for that culture. Um, because to me, there's something sacred in it that I can tell. There's something sacred in it, and to me, as a young black man growing up in America, like it kind of like pride me on the fact that I had that right there in my own backyard. You feel me? And like as I got older, I spent a lot of time in Chinatown. You feel me? And like being in Chinatown gave me all the more encouragement to like want to like pursue and study a little bit more. That's why I decided to study in Chinese Mandarin because I knew that if I could study Chinese Mandarin in high school, I can exercise those skills in Chinatown and utilize that actual skill to develop to communicate with the Chinese people and better understand the Chinese culture for myself. And I came a long way. It's tough. Like Chinese language is tough, but like when you see people like Wu Tang Clan, you feel me? Like and then they're like doing all these different things when they incline these different elements that's different from the rest of other black culture. You feel me? And you see that like you have something you can relate to. You have something that you can fall back on, and you don't feel alone for what it is that you feel. And that's kind of why like I went heavy into like watching the saga. You feel me? Because it's like I ain't gonna lie. Me personally, I just want to better understand why these cats incorporated Chinese like culture into their rap style. Like, and on top of that, if they're really serious about what it is that they're trying to do with Wu Tang being the main name, and how serious are you about incorporating this culture into your style? You feel me? Like, cause I listen to that rap all day. Some raps, I ain't talking about the one, the tracks with the little samples from like the movies and stuff like that, but I'm just talking about like to the point where y'all made Wu Tang, like I said, which goes into Wu Dong. If I mean like how much of like the culture do you deeply like relate to the point where you're willing to like include this into your art? You feel me? Because I'm literally trying to include the whole thing into my art. That's my goal. Why? Because I feel like with this interest as my foundation, it'll gravitate towards something different, like and see something like that's never been done before within black art. Um, that's why I'm like, in order for me to like move forward with that, like I need to master this language and I need to better understand the culture and I need to better understand the history because at the end of the day, I ain't no Buddhist, but at the same time, there's something about that element that is very humbling, and all I want to do is just share it with the rest of the world.
Your heart is too hot, your soul is too cold. You will never leave me, I'll never go home. No, I feel free as a bird.
Respect the classics. Respect the classics, man. Yo, final conclusion: Wu Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with. You got me. Me show was like John and Ma. Call ye if you do. Hun ha. Shit. By all means, my brothers and sisters, let's keep it real, man. Let's keep it real. But shout out to the Wu Tang, man. I just want to say, Wu Tang Clan, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all inspired a young G like me, you feel me? Now I know Bagua John. Well, Shohwa is like Jungwin Edian. Edian. Um, Give me one sec. I swear I had too many bloopers in my videos. Anyway, man, it's your boy, King Nova, aka the Black Knight, aka Young Shaolin. You know what I mean? Hey, Wu Tang, bruh, don't stop, bro. RIP Old Dirty. But please, whatever you do, don't stop. Don't forget the heart and soul, you know what I mean? Y'all mean more to young black folks like me than you can ever dream, you know what I mean? I'm just so sorry that I came to the game too late. But anyway, stay tuned for more Star Rail, you know what I mean? Try to kick it, make it a little bit more spicy, you feel me? We got more comics on the way. You know what I mean? I ain't got the Robin. Like I said, man, we got the Doom. And we got Spider-Man the Incredible Hulk right here. So keep it locked right here, you know what I mean? Right here. Only on Star Rap, and kids love it.